So I'm walking back from the beer store with Sarah to get a few goodies for the show and maybe some tomorrow night, whatever. And the road that sits perpendicular to the one that I live on, mind you, for those of you who don't know where I live, Baltimore City. So it's not.
Give me your address.
Okay, I'll get you the address. Sure.
Yeah.
Zip code, all that good stuff. The adjacent street, there are other houses, and there's an alleyway where a mobile, weighted bottom-based basketball hoop sits, where the neighborhood kids shoot around on. And it can go, they got the broomstick and go up from like 6 to like 7 or 8, 10, and go up to 10 feet. They never have it that high. Occasionally, when I'm walking the dog, I'll show them a move or two. I'll turn back the clock. Like, what's up? What's up? What's up?
Yeah. What's up?
Yeah. What do you mean, what's up? I don't have it, but I still think I have it.
A little crossover action, little touch the bottom of the net.
I teach them fundamentals, how to play D, 3-point stance. That's a triple threat stance. Anyhow, so I don't know. There was someone from the neighborhood, don't know who it was trying to move the basket and had his car parked out. You know where this is going, in front of it.
Oh yeah.
And fucker tilts forward, and the hoop, rim, and backboard blast into the side of his car. A window didn't break, but I was at first going to play Good Samaritan, and then I thought maybe I don't know, man, maybe this guy's just so pissed off that he's going to kick anybody's ass that, hey, man, you need a hand? Boom! Sorry about you.
Wait, you're Good Samaritan after the fact, or you were going to run up and try to save it?
Well, there was no chance I could run up and save it. I think the Flash may even had a tough time catching that fucker. And no, we were walking, and it just it happened almost simultaneously as we turned the corner. And at first I thought, did that just happen? But I couldn't communicate with Sarah because we don't want to gossip about this guy that just got his car fucking damaged by a basketball hoop. So we just remained quiet and kept walking, and he moved it, and I heard a couple fucks this, fucks that. But man, I'd have been hot. I'd have been fucking livid.
Oh, you'd have been more than livid. You would have beat the shit out of your own car just because it was there. And yeah, you wouldn't. I don't think you would have punched a random stranger, but you would have told him to fuck off. Fuck off, man. Just leave me fuck alone.
The slightest hint of any type of tomfoolery or mocking or snickering or giggling or yeah, you got a fucking problem. Fuck you.
I maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe this is why I need to visit a therapist or something. Because in those situations, I really don't lose my shit. Like when the most catastrophic thing possible actually happens, that's when I just I get a big smile on my face. I'm like, Def. Well, fuck it. There we go. We just burned it all to the ground. Okay, now we know what we have to do next. I'll cuss when I write the check for the repair, but I generally won't lose it after it's happened. That's not always true. Your brother knows better. When he hears this, he'll call me total bullshit on that.
Right,
He's seen me flip out plenty of times. But honestly, when shit burns itself completely to the ground, I don't know, man. What's worse, though? A broken window or a dented door?
It's got to be the door, because if you're working with frames, and I mean, I had a car that was a total cosmetic loss because, first of all, a telephone pole smashed into it, and I got money for it. But, there was a part of the door frame that they couldn't repair for some reason, so they just the insurance company chalked it up as a total cosmetic loss. So, yeah, a window all day. Now, if you've got to pay a fucking deductible, which I don't know, deductibles are a scam. They're a fucking scam. And
they are a scam. That just means, we're only going to insure you if, you murder an entire other family, which is super rare and almost never happens. But when you get a ding in your door and you don't have enough money to fix it, sorry.
Yeah.
If you rip the entire door off and it was a Rolls Royce, but you're probably going to have full coverage in that scenario. So
I don't think,
And you probably got some scratch in the bank to solve that one.
I was going to say, Rolls Royce money also means you got get out of murder money too. You got that kind of scratch on you. I had a coworker who she hit a deer and her insurance went up. Right on 95, doing either 65 or above. I don't know what type of driver she was, but I assume that she wasn't, speed limit 10 and 2. And, a fucking Bambi comes hauling ass across the street. I'm going to say killed it. But have you ever witnessed a deer or seen any type of deer get blasted on 95 and get up and run away?
Oh, no, not on 95. I've seen one on Dr. Jack, but not on 95.
I've hit a deer like that on a back road, and they've all managed. They just fucked my car up, but they walk away without a scratch on them. They just gotta lick their hoof, wipe their ears, and run away.
Okay, now I'm gonna have to backtrack, and I am gonna be a hypocrite because I'm getting ready to tell a story where everything went down, and I was enraged. I was on Dr. Jack. It was my road, the road I've always lived on, and I hit a deer in my first fucking car, like less than a month after getting it. 16 years old, $1,500, every dime to my name in this 1983 Toyota Celica. I didn't hit the deer, mind you. It ran into the side quarter panel and just fucking went hoof over head, fucking flopped onto the road. And I stopped not that far, like a tenth of a mile down the road. I was fucking fuming. Get out of the car. And I start walking down to go start. I don't know what I was going to do. Start kicking the deer, punch it. I don't fucking know. It's lying on the ground. And I get like 3/4 of the way there and I see it like, brrr, and it starts to stand up. And I'm still walking, just fucking like Stone Cold Steve Austin. The glass just broke. And I'm.
Throw me beer, JR.
10 steps from getting to this deer, finally, like, something snapped in my brain, like, what the fuck are you doing? You're going to go fight a wild animal? He's going to kick you in the dick, and you're going to be lying on the ground with your car sitting in the middle of fucking... Turn around. And by then, the deer had actually righted himself and was walking away. I'm like, yeah, he's going to fuck you up. Then I ran back my car.
That's the deer into the side of the car, because that's happened to me twice. And they must teach that in Deer Elementary School. Like if you're going to get hit by a car, this is the most safe, effective way to walk away from it. Sometimes some of us don't have that option. Some of us are dumb and go across major highways where multiple cars. There's a game made about that. It's called Frogger. But she hit a deer. I didn't total her car, but I think she had to have some pretty serious shit done to it. And it was telling us how my insurance went up. I was like, God, that's oof. And all I could get out was the fucking Lebowski. Bummer. That was a bummer, man. Sorry to hear that. Oof.
I'm having by the way, like an old man like moment of glory because I just went up on my Progressive insurance. I'm now in the Diamond Club. Ooh. And it's you have to be insured through Progressive for 20 or more years. So I signed up for my Progressive insurance right around late 2001. So it's just kicked in. That means my insurance rate will never go up no matter what accident I get into. It's just I get priority if I dial the number and I punch in my code. I don't have to wait. I'm immediately answered by a representative. Mm. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. And I've made 0 claims in 20 years. So they've gotten for the probably $100,000+ they've gotten out of me, I get the first phone call.
Look at that diamond.
So fuck you, world. Boom.
That's also that shit where like you do it so I'm going to say first I say in the royal you or a figurative you, like you us, and I was going to say you do it so little, but there's probably some assholes out there that are well versed in making insurance claims. I've been in dozens and dozens of car wrecks. I'm just saying from my personal perspective, I still have a wonder if I'm doing it right. Dial the 1-800 number on the insurance card. Hello, is this the right number? Am I doing this correctly? Am I making a claim? I'd like to make a claim.
Well, I got rear-ended, and this was actually the best rear ending of all time. I was getting ready. I was going to buy my Jeep, and I'd always wanted a Jeep Wrangler, and I was just a few $1,000s shy of being able to pull the trigger on it. And I was sitting at a red light, and I just hear, and next thing I know, I've got a concussion. and of course, I deny fucking going to the hospital and all that shit. But he had somehow broken the bed of my Ford Ranger loose from the body of the car, smashed my bumper in, caused a couple other little deals. And I remember I called the insurance and they were like rabble, blah, blah, blah. I was like, listen, I'll do this very often. So you're just going to have to tell me the process, and I'm going to say yes or no. And we went through that. They showed up to my work. They went over my truck, and they were like, yeah, does it still drive? I was like, yeah, I can get it from point A to point B. They're like, well, we're not going to fix this thing, so we're just going to write it off total loss. Like, well, what do I do with it? Like, I don't know. Can't sell it, and but you can drive it. So whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And they gave me like $3,500 for my truck.
That's just, when the telephone pole landed on my my Hyundai Accent, I got $3,800. So yeah.
And my first real accident where I got hit head on in a Mazda Miata, they actually paid me more for the car than I bought it for. So yeah, that was another doozy.
Nice. Yeah. I was coming home. Well, when I was teaching, pretty much every day from Wilmington, Delaware to Newark, it was backed up. At least in a small part of 95. I think once you cleared like Newcastle, it started to get a little bit better. But you had to mind your P's and Q's. You had to be alert. And I got blasted in the back. Not full bore. Obviously, it was kind of stop and go. But I think this guy just wasn't paying attention. Hit the gas. Didn't look. Smashed into me. I couldn't hit my brake enough in time and hit a fucking Land Rover in front of me. That guy got out, fucking just waving his fist like angry white guy. Like, what is this? And I was like, that guy bashed me from the back. And he looked at the back of his car and said, well, nothing's wrong with me. I'm leaving. And I turned and looked at this guy's car, and bumper smashed in, hood is like a V.
Wait, okay, so the guy that hit you,
yeah,
left?
No, the guy in the Land Rover left.
Okay.
I was just nervous that he was going to raise hell that I hit him, and
right.
I'm driving my parents' semi-borrowed / quasi-given to me Honda CRV on a fucking teacher salary and a private school to boot, which pays less. But he left. I look at the guy's car behind me, and it is fucking just, it is wrecked. It looked like one of those crash test dummy fucking cars that they do. They put the dummies in and run into a brick wall at full speed. And I didn't even get a chance to look at my car. I said, let's just get off the highway because it's bumper to bumper traffic right now. Let's not fuck up everyone else's day. Okay, cool. We get over, and dude, there is like a nickel-sized dent in my bumper. That was it. I was like, what? I was like, I'll give you a ride home, dude. He's like, oh, good, because I don't have any insurance. I was about to tell him to go fuck himself after he said that, but
Jesus. Yeah, that's how you make money over time, like a college loan. You just bleed that guy dry for like 30 years, $500 a month.
Yeah. Well,
well. You did the wrong thing, Wes. Way to go.
I sure did. Middle class souls, everyone. Merton Fox, man. Alan is off tonight. He's in Louisville, Kentucky at a bachelor party playing like fucking 72 holes of golf over the next 5 days. They're going to Churchill Downs. They're going to a couple gentlemen's clubs, I think. I don't know. Kelly, if you're listening, I'm sorry. Yeah, good weekend. He is off.
Way to out the guy on a public forum. Nice job. Well done.
He probably told her. I don't know. It's a bachelor party in Louisville.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Not my fault anymore.
Two quick stories before we get to asking for a friend, and our buddy Adam's going to jump on the show. They freed the ship from the Chesapeake Bay. They did a dredging / towing. They didn't do one outright.
Tugging?
Tow and tug. Yeah.
Tugging. I mean, it's a tugboat, right? But that's technically a push. They shoved it out of there. It's gone. What was on it? I need to know. It's like a fucking like oyster in the middle. No, you didn't tell anybody?
I think it was thousands upon thousands of different things. I don't think it was one particular type of thing. It's probably like hungry Americans and millions of Etsy purchases. That's what it was, man. People waiting on fucking throwback jerseys and shoes and picture frames and fucking ashtrays. Yeah.
It makes me wonder if they didn't tell anybody because it was actually valuable, and they know that the city of Baltimore would have turned into like Gotham City with fucking Bane in its helm, like fucking just swimming out there to fucking pillage and rampage.
You know, I'm not one to really bleed out conspiracies, but that has some backing to it. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
It's like it's containers for the De Beers company. It's fucking just diamonds, top to bottom, hanging out in the harbor.
Yeah, there would have been fake me out pirates, just hillbillies and their fucking their bass boats, just throwing what are they? Those like ninja claws up on the side, and scaling it.
Grappling hook.
Yeah, that's right. Whatever. I don't know.
made out of garden tools and nylon rope. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They made they I think so the idea was let's dredge until it starts moving a little bit, and we'll talk. The thing that gets me is the weight of that ship. I understand that water is displacing a lot of that, but can you imagine? Presumably, you're using steel cables, right? I mean, you're not.
I don't know with that. I mean, tugboats, from what I understand, they've got those big rubber bumpers on them, those big rubber baby buggy bumpers on them, and they use those to actually touch the ship and just push it.
Okay, because from what I saw, they were doing both. They were pushing and pulling.
Yeah. Well, I guess in that situation, you do whatever the fuck you got to do, man.
If they did,
I don't know. And I also,
if they did use steel cabling in one burst, it could fucking blitz one of those trailers in half. It snapped correctly.
I think that's how it works, man. I don't know that that's a true thing at all. I mean, I know it is in movies, but yeah. I think it happened in a Die Hard movie.
It did happen in Die Hard. That's exactly what I was thinking about. That's a person. It was easy. It was like cutting butter. Yeah,
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's not going to cut a container ship or a container on the ship in half if it snaps.
I mean, it depends upon what test it is. It could be high test, a couple thousand pounds.
I do have a question. Well, because you were really excited about this thing. What is the fascination with the ship being stuck? I don't understand. Like the Suez Canal one, like a few months back, like that thing. I mean, that's a major shipping channel. Like nothing could get by it. It was like a big rectangle stuck in a big rectangle, like just catty corner and block and shit. Like this, maybe it's just a big dumb boat stopped in the middle of a big dumb body of water.
This is like in our backyard. That's why, and it's just like going to be in. What they were saying was they were projecting it till July, so this thing was just going to hang out right in the middle of Chesapeake Bay for 4 months. It's be an eyesore for passerbys and boaters and people enjoying leisurely walks on the shores of Anne Arundel County. It's like, hey, look at that. Beautiful. It's our Statue of Liberty.
Sure. If you didn't, this is the thing though. This is one of those news stories where it's a tree falling in the woods. If you didn't know that boat was stuck, you would just go by every day and be like, man, there's a lot of cargo ships come through here, aren't there?
If I hadn't seen that TikTok, I wouldn't have known. I would not have. It would have not been alerted. I don't watch local news at all.
No,
I don't. I listen to a sports FM channel going into work, and when it kicks to commercials, I typically flip on a Spotify playlist or something like that. Whatever.
By the way,
shoot me.
I've been listening to a lot of like Jack FM. One of the we play everything, we play anything, whatever.
102.7.
One of those deals. Yeah, 102.7. There's also one out of Philly I listen to. Anyway, so Bruno Mars is on, right? It's actually Uptown Funk, so it's not tech. Yeah, and it's like Uptown, and I'm fucking like I'm on the way to work. I'm like I'm doing the white guy waist up dance, and I'm like I'm in a good fucking mood. And I get to work, and I'm like, man, now that's a jam. Then I started thinking to myself, is it? You need to ask a black man. So, when I got to work, I found this African American coworker, and I just walked up to him and I said, "Listen, Taylor, got to ask you a question." "Yeah, what's that?" I was like, "Bruno Mars." He's like, "Yeah." "Is that just white people shit?" I was like, "Yep." And went right back to work. He just said, "Yep." And I said, "Thank you for your input.
Thank you.
I needed to know that."
Confirmation. I was having a brain aneurysm on my way to work, figuring if this is it. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. One.
Yeah. So now I know though. Now I know, and I wonder if Bruno Mars knows that in that community, which he's kind of halfway a part of, if he realizes that he's making white people shit. He's making funky music for white folk.
I think he knows all the way to the bank. I think that's
okay. I think that's completely fair.
Yeah.
I mean, you're an artist. You do what you do. He does it really well. He did, as I was walking away, he actually did say, he's like, don't take me wrong. He's legit. But yeah, that's white people shit.
For a second, I thought he was going to say, except for Uptown Funk. That shit's money. That's the only one, though. You guys start dancing. Yeah, yeah.
But come to think of it, like if you're thinking about it like stereotypically from a cultural aspect, like all of his other songs are like they're white people wedding songs. Yeah, I don't think that's any song done by that grenade song. You don't follow no grenade.
Yeah, but and your sex takes me to paradise. Yeah. That jam.
Yeah.
You're right, man. And it's usually because I was around the time Uptown Funk came out, maybe another like year after that. I had filmed, recorded a few weddings. Those of you who don't know, plug. I film weddings, videography, cheap, good, better, best options. But that was that was for a period, at least more often than not, like let's get these white people off their tuchuses and onto the dance floor jammer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see why. If you're gonna get this little white guy to start boogieing in his fucking car seat on his way to work, then then you're onto something, friend.
Yeah. Hell yeah, they've played it a few times. How old? When's Bruno Mars come out with something recently?
He did something kind of like lounge singer, like soul thing about a year ago, like right when the pandemic was. Yeah, apparently he and a buddy like locked themselves in a studio like while the whole lockdown was happening. He put something out, but it wasn't a huge commercial success.
No, it's just what he tried to break away from entertaining white people. Like, you know what? I'm gonna break the mold.
A little bit. I don't know what it was. It was that one that's like, where you at? Where you at? Come fuck with me. Fuck with me. It's a funny song. It's almost like a weird if if Andy Samberg from Saturday Night Live like wrote a song and then it was performed by a legitimate musical artist. That's what it was.
There's something cool about his family. There's some like fun fact about his dad.
Well, he was a Bruno Mars when he was a little kid was an Elvis impersonator.
Yeah, I'm reading that. I actually just read that right now.
I don't know why I know so much about Bruno Mars, but I know more than I should.
This is good. First of all, his name is Peter Gene Hernandez. At the age of 2, he was nicknamed Bruno by his father because of his resemblance to professional wrestler Bruno Sammartino. Good for him, though. Appeared in '92. Appeared in a cameo role in the film Honeymoon in Vegas, and was interviewed by Pauly Shore on MTV. Huh. 6 years old, was on the Arsenio Hall show.
See,
yeah.
Dude's been famous his entire fucking life.
Good for him. I mean, he's a hell of a musician.
Been entertaining white folk for 35 years. Thanks, Bruno.
Usually after I get done the wiki, I usually just blitz right to net worth. Because I want to see what these motherfuckers are worth. And we're going to see right now. Bruno Mars.
All right, I'm going to say he's worth... I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to go outlandish here. I'm going to say $25 million.
$175 million.
God damn.
Yeah. That's got to be...
Funk me up, baby.
He probably toured his ass off for like 3 or 4 years. I mean, they all do, but I'm talking about selling out fucking football stadiums as opposed to 20,000 person venues.
He did do the Super Bowl halftime show like 5-6 years ago. So that tour after that was probably just wet panties and soaked $100 bills.
He was on. He was also the musical and acting guest on Saturday Night Live once. They like to do that from time to time. Like Britney did it, a few others, but he actually had some acting chops. Not great. Not like he could be an actor, like Timberlake or something. But
if you can be a normal person, either one of us could go do SNL for one night only
as the musical guest.
Not as a musical guest. Maybe a certain kind of musical guest. We could be Dick in a Box musical guest.
Shit. All right, folks, we'll stand by. We're going to get our boy Adam on for asking for a friend, and we're going to try to coerce him into sticking around for the remainder of the show.
Like a warm, creamy chutney. Get ready for another spoonful of the middle class holes.
Welcome back to the Middle Class Holes. Murr, Fox Man. No Alan tonight. As mentioned, he's in the great state of Kentucky, holding it down. Joining us live from New York, Raekwon style, our lawyer and our legal correspondent for Asking for a Friend, Mr. Adam Calvert. Adam, thank you for being on.
Well, thank you. You're cooking up briefs like the chef.
That's right. Only built for Cuban hot dog links. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Hey, actually, hold on real quick. Before we get into asking for a friend, Adam made a great point. Me, him, and a good buddy of ours, Don, have a Facebook chat. What would you say, Adam? Like 55, 60% of it's about boxing, and then the other 40% is just kind of this and that. And we realized that Wu-Tang, along with Nas, are touring this upcoming, I think they start in May, and they go through the summer into the early fall. And Adam, what's it called?
New York State of Mind tour.
New York State of Mind. And do they perform anywhere in the state of New York?
No, they do not.
Well, that's why they're just in the state of mind.
Yeah,
it's
that's
on
point.
their mind, but
Yeah.
in spirit, but not in body.
Yeah. What, I don't. That's a stretch. Anywho,
Okay.
Asking for a friend. Murr, take her away.
All right, here we go. I've got a few stories for you there, Adam Calvert, Esquire, and we need some advice from you. Now, these are some stories that we've already gone over on the show, and we'll start with the man I deem the mile-high masturbator. A man on a Southwest Airlines flight from Seattle to Phoenix is facing federal charges for pulling down his pants and masturbating at least 4 times in front of a female passenger, beginning shortly after takeoff. The man was arrested by officers from the Phoenix Police Department when the flight landed. And basically, we were kind of trying to figure out the timeline on this when we talked about it the first time, because it sounds like he might have been pulling it for about an hour, or he pulled it very quickly and then passed out for about an hour and then woke up and went right back to task. So apparently he asked the female sitting next to him on the flight if it was okay if he masturbated. And what was her answer, Wes? I guess.
Does it
matter?
Yeah.
Does it really matter? And then he went about his business. 4 hours masturbating. My question to you, the masturbator is obviously out of his mind. Screw loose. Something wrong upstairs. Nobody pulls their pants down on a plane and starts pleasuring themselves. Is his seatmate to blame at all for any of his actions? Because couldn't she have alerted the airline staff, I don't know, rather immediately and then taken care of this whole situation before it became a situation?
Well, I mean, certainly morally, socially, yeah, but legally, no. I mean, you're under no obligation to report a crime. So, no, you could say that she's encouraging it, maybe. I mean, that's certainly not a crime. That's another social moral wrong, but nothing legally.
I don't know, man.
Well, I guess
didn't the last episode of Seinfeld, right? Didn't they all get fucking popped for that?
Yeah. That was Massachusetts.
Ah, okay.
Okay. But then it comes down to this, though. If she allowed this activity to go on for 4 hours on 4 separate occasions, shots fired, shots fired, shots fired, shots fired.
Mm-hmm.
She even claimed, if she went to court saying she wanted damages for being a witness to this or whatever, it's like a tree falling in the woods. Like, you weren't offended the first time, so how could you claim you were offended the second, third, or fourth time if you didn't report it until the landing? Like, you get where I'm coming from here. Does she have a case to say that she was offended if she decided to let it go on?
I don't think so. I mean, at that point, just take them out of the airplane situation. Just pretend they're two people, hanging out somewhere, if you're a date or something like that. And he asks her, and she says, "Yeah, I guess, go ahead, you can masturbate." Then she's got no claim there.
She denied that, by the way. She said her claim was, her testimony was that I said no.
Okay, well then that's a different story. Okay. Then that's
he
that's
of
up to the
course
jury.
He of course who jerked off 4 different times from Seattle to Phoenix said she said that. Of course, his side of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also stand here and saying, but she also allowed it for 4 separate occasions over a 4-hour period of time.
Yeah, it's kind of conflicting. I mean, at one point you would think, all right, there's nobody out there who is just going to let that go on and say, yeah, go ahead, right? But and then on the other hand, if she didn't even report it until I think like the flight was over, right, or something like that, or towards the end. As soon as that guy's stick out, anybody is going to report that, right?
I think
getting up.
I think we're asking the wrong questions, because let's assume this guy's sitting in the middle and we have the other the person on the window seat or whoever was sitting opposite aside. This is like a very Clue-like situation. It was Professor Plum who got drunk at the fucking at the Mile High Club and Lounge Bar and then passed out. And this guy pulled his pud 4 different times, right? Where was that person? They didn't get interviewed. They didn't have any quotes. They weren't saying I objected or didn't say anything. Maybe they were under their under their shorts.
What if it's a two? But if it's a plane that has rows of 2 seats, right?
You're right.
Does the aisle absolve you of all responsibility at that point? Oh no, I was across the aisle. That was on the other side. That was 2 feet away.
But that's why I kind of, in a weird way, believe the masturbator a little bit, because he claims to have asked her, and she gave, even her answer wasn't exactly like, sure, I'm into it. It was like, doesn't matter. It's like, you're going to do what you're going to do anyway. I'm just not going to stop you, which seems to be the case here. So maybe he was moderately discreet about the whole situation, but then just kept feverishly doing it over and over and over again. And it's like if somebody's like, "Hey, do you mind if I I gotta hang now? Can I clip this now?" Yeah, go ahead. But then if they take their socks and shoes off, it's gonna be like, "Okay, I said you could clip a nail, not all of them." You've gone a little bit over the line here.
Hey, look, I suffer from severe flying anxiety, and the only way to alleviate this is to masturbate. All right, I can do this once and get this over with, or this 4-hour flight from Seattle to Phoenix is going to be fucking hell for you. Whatever. Okay.
I mean, that sounds like hell to me right there. So I don't know how he's going to make it much worse.
Okay, and now is the point in the show where I implement maritime law. What are planes under? All right, because I know in space it's maritime law, and I know in the ocean it's maritime law. What's the air? Is it airtime law?
Well, there is aviation law. I mean, it's a sort of conglomerate. I mean, there's federal law. There's depends on if something happens at the airport versus in the plane. But it's its own specialty.
What they need to have is they need to have either like airborne sheriffs that like, this is my county. And then when they get over another county, they fly up in another plane. This is my county. Get out of that plane.
They're going to connect them like executive decision style, where the plane flies up underneath and
Yep.
Dude, you just created a brand new basic cable court show, Air Court.
So you get like Judge Judy or Steve Harvey up in that stealth bomber, and then get that little tube attached to the plane and shoot them up there whenever something goes wrong.
No, it's a flying courtroom, and as soon as they take off and they're in the air, they have to settle the case before the plane lands, or the defendant, not the defendant, the other one, who's the one getting prosecuted.
The defendant.
The defendant. Okay, if they land before the case is settled, he walks free, no charges.
Well, wouldn't he just not take whatever settlement they're offering? Like, nah, I don't agree to that. No.
Yeah. I mean, there's some kinks to be worked out here, but I think the element of the show is there.
Murr's whiteboarding, and he feels like he's got a fucking idea that's worthy of a whiteboard. And I think you have something to a point. You were using some jargon that Adam obviously just was like, no. What is this? Is it the defendant? No, that's not the defendant. It's the defendant. Yeah. All right. The defendant. Yes, we have some kinks ironed out.
They take off. They try a case. If the case isn't finished before they land because it's too complicated, homeboy walks free. End of story.
You have
wait, I got it. If they don't settle, they have to jump out in a parachute.
Ooh.
land,
like
where,
what you're saying.
land where you land.
Yeah.
Forest, body of water.
Lump sum or leap.
And of course the pilot's like, you're watching Air Court.
No, you should make it flight court, so it sounds like night court.
Look at that. You see? It's all coming together. We've got to keep pulling on this thread. Speaking of pulling on threads, rapper GNU, are you aware of GNU and his work? What's his name, Wes? Am I saying it right?
It's GNU, yeah.
Okay, GNU.
How do you spell that?
GOONEW, one word.
I was saying GNU, but
maybe it's like new, like the animal. Like GNU. That's what it's his favorite animal.
Oh wait, Murr, you forgot a very specific point that I showed you today about flying. And Tyson.
what?
Mike
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. You're 100% right. I'm sorry. Fuck GNU. Okay, there's another flight case. Another episode of Flight Court. So Mike Tyson. Now I'm just gonna do this off the top of my head because I forgot.
Wait. This one's Fight Court. Flight Court. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
My
Hollywood,
idea. Quit
here
fucking
we
with it.
come.
So Mike Tyson was just on a flight. It was either yesterday or the day before, and this guy behind him is messing with him and is like just being. Did you guys watch the video on that?
Sure
the TikTok
did.
or the Twitter videos? Dude's like up. I mean, of all people to get up and like aggressive with from the back, Mike Tyson, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, eventually, it's like dude's like, "Yo, Mike Tyson, yeah, da 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 da," and he's pointing at him, and it looked like he was like touching the back of his head a couple times, and then the video stops, and then the next video that starts is Mike Tyson pummeling this man's face. So my question to you is, again, airline staff not stopping a situation. Mike Tyson is, of course, who everybody knows he is. He's a rather aggressive man, and he takes matters into his own hands. Seeing the video, knowing Mike Tyson, knowing that there's an airline staff supposedly working on the plane, does Mike Tyson get into any trouble for this? If can the guy press charges for, even though he was being an asshole the whole time?
I mean, possibly. You really have to. I mean, if he's provokes and he has to defend himself, then Mike Tyson has the right to do, to defend himself. I mean, if you look at the video, I mean, the guy got a little beat up. It's more of a matter of degree. How aggressively is this guy going at him? How much does he need to do to defend himself? And you just have to balance those sort of things.
Wes, what do you have to add to this? Because I've got a lot of questions that I can't think of at the moment. Because it just seemed like Tyson was in it's one of those rare instances where it seemed like Mike Tyson was justified in something he did.
I think if any grown man on an airplane, take it for I don't know if this happened, but let's just say any other grown man. It doesn't have to be Mike Tyson and this clown that got pummeled. It could be any people. And I'm sitting there in the seat behind, tapping someone's head, going, "Hey man." I think after like 5 or 6, like that dude has the right to turn around and fucking cold cock him. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you being like that? Stop. You just happened to do it to Mike fucking Tyson, you idiot. Now, maybe he wasn't tapping him, but he was egging him on.
He was definitely egging him on. And I guess at what point, if you're not good with words, okay, you, Wes, we could turn around and probably eviscerate somebody with language. Mike Tyson doesn't really have that skill set. His skill set comes in the form of brute strength. So I don't know. In knowing that Mike Tyson's a public figure and has been a public figure for fighting his entire life, what kind of response did you expect to receive after agitating someone so forcefully for even the amount of time I watched the video? That was long enough for me, but I'm a pussy and I can't fight. So I'm not going to go be aggressive, but that's exactly what a Mike Tyson's going to do. I guess the point is like if you pull a tiger's tail, expect to get scratched, and the guy got scratched. So is Mike Tyson going to face anything in your opinion?
Well, the thing is with any time a celebrity does something, there's always a much higher risk that they're going to get sued because they have money, because they're a celebrity. If it had been some broke Joe Schmo and he turned around and punched the guy and you get hit and you go to the lawyer and say, oh yeah, I got hit, I want to sue this guy. Well, the first thing the lawyer does is sees how much money the guy has. Does he have any money? Does he have anything I can, is even worth suing the guy? And when you have a celebrity like Mike Tyson, that chance goes up. So yeah, there's definitely a chance that something will happen because of this.
Okay, now does the airline have any responsibility? Because to me, that went on long enough that somebody should have come over and, the guy that was fucking with Tyson was obviously in the wrong. So he should have been reprimanded at least by the airline staff at some juncture. And as long as that video goes on, nobody approaches, nobody says anything, nobody stops anything. Like if you've got two individuals that are, Tyson was minding his own business. If you got somebody messing with another airline passenger and no one stops it, at what point are you allowed to take it into your own hands? And then if the guy does sue Tyson, can Tyson then say, well, the airline lacked any kind of security personnel? They knew I was on the flight. So what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, well, with the airlines, it's a little different with security. If you have like a bar or a club or, anywhere where you might see security people on the ground, then you could sue them for not having proper security. But an airline, you're limited to what you get. You can't just start having armed, security guards that aren't TSA, all that sort of thing on the airline. So it's unreasonable to ask the stewardess or stewards to do that sort of thing to stop a fight.
Where they do have security? Flight court.
Well, they got a bailiff, right?
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Get Steven Seagal, bring the executive decision thing full circle. Get him on there. John Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo. And he has a blunt tipped crossbow, so he doesn't pierce the plane. Okay, now we go to GNU. Now GNU, he was a rapper and he died, and his friends threw him a going away bash at a nightclub. Except for the 24-year-old's body, well, he was there in the nightclub, displayed, standing up, straight up on the middle of the dance floor. And there's footage. He appears to be embalmed, overlooking the crowd, fully dressed and wearing a crown. The audience reactions kind of mixed. Some are dancing along to the music, and others are stone-faced, staring at the dead body in front of them. Bliss nightclub said they were not made aware of the tribute ahead of time, and they are wondering, even themselves, if there's any legal ramifications. Are there any legal ramifications that you're aware of for displaying a dead body in a place where a dead body is generally not on display?
Well, I took several classes in dead body law. So I dusted off the old textbook for you. Well, there are lots of laws about what you can and cannot do with a dead body, right? Both sort of public health laws and laws that have to do with how you treat the body and how you dispose of it and all that sort of stuff. So I would say they're probably breaking some sort of health code violation, right? At least. But displaying it, as long as I think if you have the family permission, that you could display a body somewhere. But it has to be lawful for it to be in that place, which I don't think that is.
Yeah. How do you go about obtaining a permit for something like that?
Yeah, I don't think there is a permit. I think that's the problem.
Well, okay, because obviously, funeral homes, people die, bodies are on display, open casket, yada yada. Shit, when a celebrity dies, like Michael Jackson, Aretha Franklin, whomever, even when a body's laying in state, these aren't generally places that dead bodies are open to the public. So, I guess as long as they're not serving food, is that?
Yeah, food's got to be 50 feet from the body. Yeah,
we got a special on It's got a special on hot dogs.
I mean, but the thing is, when you're talking about these famous people who their body gets, trucked around for everybody to see, they're not putting them in, an Applebee's or, O'Malley's Saloon or whatever nightclub this was. They're at some designated place where this is arranged.
Right.
Right.
Well, okay, and I would also say that the guests that are coming to view the body are aware of what they're coming to see. So my next question is, what about the people who were completely unaware that there was going to be a dead body on display in the middle of a dance club when they were going to celebrate Gnu's life? If they wanted to sue the family for some sort of like mental distress, would they have a case because they went and they were like, maybe you've never seen a dead body. Maybe you never want to see a dead body. You show up and unbeknownst to you, there's a dead body in front of you while Bruno Mars is playing.
Maybe you were invited for a life celebration to have some beers and some drinks with some friends and commemorate the life of a good friend. And then that gets wheeled out. You're just totally fucking blindsided.
Yeah, I don't think you could sue for that. I mean, maybe if somebody did that, you didn't know the person was dead. You're like, hey, it's Gnu's birthday, and they wheel out his dead body. That might be enough of a shock.
Weekend at Bernie's style.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I can just imagine you're just in there. You were completely unaware. You'll do a little bump and grind, like, "Oh, hey, what's up, man?"
Yeah.
Why don't you spit a few bars? Oh man, he's quiet tonight.
Yeah,
he's shy.
And finally, there's a teacher that was found unresponsive after she was attacked by a 5-year-old. A Florida teacher was found unresponsive after being attacked by a 5-year-old, say the police. The child beat the woman with his fists and feet to a point where she had to be stretchered out, and taken to the hospital. Let's see. The police department responded to the elementary school saying they, quoted, needed support. What kind of 5-year-old is this? When officers arrived, they found her sitting on the ground against the wall, appearing to be in a faint state. Okay, so we're just going to open up the entire playbook on this one. Okay, if a 5-year-old attacks you in a vicious manner like that, even though he's a minor, you have the right to Mike Tyson uppercut him like you're on a JetBlue plane.
Again, it goes back to reasonableness. Normally, if a 5-year-old attacked me, I do not have the right to uppercut him. But I don't know what this woman's state was, and this 5-year-old sounds like future heavyweight champion of the world, possibly himself. So, I mean, it's all a matter of degree. How crazy is this 5-year-old? Obviously, pretty wild to mess up a lady that bad. So, maybe not uppercut, but a stiff jab. Yeah,
okay.
But the problem with that logic, and I'm not saying it's not sound, the problem with that is like you don't know. You know what I mean? Like I've always said this about like somebody like Jackie Chan or Jet Li, like standing about 5 foot tall. You step on their bright white new Air Force Ones in the middle of the street in New York. And they're like, "Hey, my shoes," and you're like, "Hey, fuck you." And the next thing you know, you're waking up with no teeth. You know what I mean? Like you don't know how vicious that person's gonna be until they become vicious. So the 5-year-old, you're like, fuck you, little pussy. And then next thing you know, you're waking up on the wall being stretched out by fucking your local finest. So, like, at what point are you allowed to make the determination that I can beat the shit out of this kid?
Well, all right. So let me just disclaimer here. I'm not saying that you can beat the shit out of any kid at all.
Wait, but I hear you saying something. I hear you saying something though.
There's a pretty profound butt in there.
I get, like I said, it's all about a point of. So if you're like bleeding, losing teeth, and realizing, holy cow, this kid has like superhero strength, I cannot stop him. And again, I think this is much different for a man than a woman. I don't know how old this woman was either. Then if it gets to be that bad where the kid is kicking your ass, then I guess you can step it up a little bit. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like more than you would with a 5-year-old. Just I mean, I don't know how a hard shove doesn't stop any 5-year-old.
That's what I was going to say, man. My elementary school teacher, Miss Green, was like 105 pounds soaking wet. And she would have beat the snot out of me when I was 5.
Yeah,
Even if I was like, come on, let's go. ABC this. Poof. I had gotten fucked up.
So does she sue the parents then? Does the teacher sue the parents for the kid's actions? Because I mean, a 5-year-old, I guess, technically can't be held responsible for his actions.
No, I mean, at that the kid is I think it's a little different when the kid is in school, right? So just like workers' comp, if you get hurt at work, you can't sue your employer. I don't think you could sue the parent for something like that because the kid is misbehaved and attacks a teacher. I mean, if that was the case, I mean, think how many teachers have been attacked by students. So I don't think that could happen unless.
Man, I taught for 2 years.
Maybe
No
if
one
you
even.
if you knew the kid had some propensity.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was saying maybe if you knew the kid had some sort of propensity, or I mean, it'd be a lot different if the kid had a weapon or something like that, and you knew about that. That's a whole different story. But just because the kid might lash out and try to hit his teacher, no, you can't sue the parents.
What I was going to say was I taught for 2 years. No one dared fucking come after me. I fucked their day up.
You taught elementary school, right, Wes?
sure did.
Yeah.
Okay, now at what point? Okay, what's the cutoff line? So like, okay, you're talking elementary school, right? You're talking a 5-year-old. All right, so let's move it up a little bit here. You get to a 13-year-old. Can you up? What age? What's the lowest age child I can legally punch in the face, Calvert?
I mean, I think you're gonna. I'll say this: you hit any kid, and you're probably going to get sued, and it's up to a jury to figure out whether or not you were right in punching that kid. So don't punch kids because there's always because you're going to get sued either way.
Now, is it going to be based on age or body type? Because I'm willing to guarantee that there's some 13-year-olds in this era that are bigger than me. So if they're bigger than me, then am I justified in breaking some foot off in the ass?
I think you've got a much better chance.
Right.
And maybe you
Probably.
delay the trial a few years, let the kid go through puberty. By the time he shows up, he's really big.
I think what Adam's trying to say is like if you're going to go that route, you better have your ducks in a row. You better make a jury realize that you your back was against the wall and you had no other choice but to do that. Now, what Adam, going back to the kindergarten teacher who got the shit kicked out of her, what if she invokes in loco parentes and sues herself as the parent? Because Murr said, what if she sues the parents? She invokes in loco parentes. She's the parent. She sues herself, and then maybe she could win that way.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Is this the legal term you just learned?
Absolutely.
No, look, that's the in place of. That's like what. That's what I was always told going through grade school. Like, we are your parents. This is Greek, kids.
It's Latin, but yeah.
It's Greek Latin. It's Greek Latin.
And finally, Adam, we actually have a listener submitted asking for a friend. Now, there's a little bit of a backstory to this, and I'll share that with you. I'll give you the sugar packet version here. So, guy I work with, his friend, sadly, his wife died, and over time he became lonely, but he wasn't ready for a relationship. So he decided to buy himself a relationship in the form of a $2,000 real sex doll. And now he does, in fact, have a girlfriend, started to move on with life, got himself to a committed relationship. And it's time to get the doll out of the closet and out of the crawl space and move on with life. And so this is the actual ad that they put on some Reddit or Craigslist site. Says for sale.
Looks official.
Perfect gift for the man who has everything except a girlfriend. One artificial companion, well cared for, from a clean, upstanding home. Excellent condition, $1,800 value. We'll negotiate to a loving home for $800. Great with kids and the elderly. Very pretty. Good listener. And whose only limits are those of your own imagination. So is it legal to sell a used sex doll?
Yeah, I believe so.
Really? Okay.
I would strongly suggest maybe look that up, but I don't see why not.
Dust off the sex toy book from law school, bro. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. My sex doll. I'm like,
well, to me, the reason I instantly said, "Hey, man, I need you to send me that ad because I need to bring this up with our legal counsel," is because I learned something about prisons recently. Apparently, the gang raping in prison is almost a thing of the past because prisoners have found a new way to shame other inmates. If you get any bodily fluids inside of you, they have to notify your family just in case there's a health risk once you're released. So apparently they're now holding prisoners down in places that are unspeakable, putting unspeakable fluids inside of their body by force. So I was just under the assumption that possibly anything that has a bodily fluid, shall we say, inserted into it could potentially taint a product from being sold in the future, especially, if you obviously the nature of the gift or the nature of the sale would involve a product that is just for that cause.
Doesn't this also fall under you can't sell mattresses?
Because of bodily fluids.
Yeah, but you can sell the box spring and then the mattress is free if you're advertising it. That's a loophole.
Well, I mean, there are used sex toy markets on the internet because I did look at this for you guys. So the fact that they're there, and I don't know, maybe it's just like the police set it up to lure people like your listener in, it's going to show up at the police station, the sex doll. It's like how they get the people with the outstanding warrants. They tell them they want a trip, that sort of thing.
Well, and the other thing was the other thing that set my antennas up here was he told me that as they were trying to sell this, apparently there is a Canadian site that will hold your device in escrow until full payment has been made. And I was like, that seems weird that it's in Canada and but they're offering sales in the US. Like, it almost is like you have to ship your product over the border,
right?
Wait for payment, and then they'll ship it to whomever purchased it. So it just seemed to me like maybe in the US there's a problem with this.
Like Canada's, it's like the Cayman Islands of sex dolls, used sex doll market. They just laundering money, laundering sex dolls through Canada.
Of all the islands you could have named, that's the perfect one.
Came in.
But it was totally unintentional, by the way. I wish I was that smart to have come up with that.
And if anybody is looking to purchase this particular sex doll, you can email us and we'll get you in touch with the seller. It's Tickle Our Tummies at gmail.com. Tickle Our Tummies. And further information, apparently this man was, I don't know if it was like for cleanliness or laziness, but apparently used protection the entire time with his particular companion. So,
Murr, I just want to say too that I'm very proud of you for selling your sex doll. This anonymous listener who sent in this question. I'm very proud of him for selling his sex doll. That's a good step forward.
I'm very proud of me and or whomever sent this in for finally moving on.
Actually, there was one more write-in, Adam. If you have a minute. Excuse me. Asking for a friend. My hometown, which is a small town, the local city and county government have been taking serious advantage of people via a bridge toll. The mismanagement of accounts as well as overcharging of extremely long wait times. How can a local government take advantage of people like this? No explanations, no reasons, just it is what it is. Can you put this into perspective for me?
Sure. And I dusted off my toll law textbook before this too, for you guys, just for you guys, only you guys I would do this for.
You don't have to come up with any any explanation for that one. Adam took a screenshot of a friend of ours who asked him that random question, and Adam goes, "Boy, I'm not really sure. Not really sure about that."
Yeah, I'll do it for you guys though.
Oh, beautiful. Hell yeah. All right, give us a skinny.
You know? No, I don't know that one. I didn't look that one up. You surprised me with that. But other questions you guys send me.
Gotcha. All right. Anybody asking for a friend, email us at tickleourtummies@gmail.com. Hit us up. If you have legal woes, worries, feel like you might have done something fucked up a few years ago, I want to know statute of limitations, selling sex dolls, wondering why your local small town and government are fucking you over at tolls, hit us up, tickleourtummies@gmail.com. Hey, listen, we got Fun Fact Friday coming up. You want to stick around?
Yeah, I love fun facts.
Well, all right then. Say no more. Mr. Murr?
Let's get to it, my friends. It's time for 5 fun facts for you fuckers on a Friday. Of course, being brought to you by the Shin Splints Recovery Group. If you've got any pain below the knee and above the ankle and you needed a like-minded set of assholes like yourself, find the Shin Splints Recovery Group right now on Facebook. Adam, you do a little boxing. I know you've done a little running in the past. Any shin splints? Any pain below the knee, above the ankle?
Well, I used to until I joined the Shin Splints Recovery Group. Now I feel great.
That's right. If you'd like some non-medically sound advice, find those assholes right now. It's fake. Don't do it. Here we go. 5 fun facts for you fuckers on a Friday. OMG. Facts. Did you know the first Rolls Royce marketed in 1906 sold for about $784? Now it would be worth about $295,000.
That same car? Price it couldn't even run. 1903?
Seems like it should be worth more, right? I mean,
okay.
The first one ever made.
Wow, thank you. All right, I'm glad we're back. You know, you're not even missing a beat. It's just like Alan's here. No, this is inflation. It's a $784 car. It would cost that much now, brand new, if you bought it today.
Yeah.
So if you're going back in time and you were like, "Oh, I go back and I'd buy me a Rolls Royce. It takes $784." No, you take a fucking bar of gold with you. Is what you would do,
right?
And which you don't own.
Doesn't that show Rolls Royces? I think I don't know about I don't know about Rolls Royces in general, but it seems like they appreciate. If that's true, right? This one $290 now. That's what they cost the higher end ones, right?
It just means that they've always been expensive.
Yeah, that's I appreciate them.
I always remember that scene from I think it was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where like dude brings like all this shit and he needs camels and stuff to go through the desert, and he's like 1924 blah 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 blah.
Rolls Phantom 2.
Yeah,
and I even like the color. Give this man whatever he would like. I'm like, oh damn.
Keys are in the ignition. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, whatever. Fuck that. And all I could think of the whole time is like, if you were to, everybody thinks if they went back in time, they would do this or do that. I'd buy this, because it would be worth this much more when I came back to the future. I guess if we ever stumble upon a time machine, we really have to understand currency and, things that will still be worth what they'd be worth back then. Couldn't take regular money back in time right now.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how far back you went. I mean, obviously you couldn't use today's money because the dates on it would be in the future. And depending on how far back you went, it might even be pretty costly to get a hold of just even a little bit of old money, right? I think you'd have to print your own money because the counterfeiting back then, depending on how far back you go, might not be as good.
I like what you're saying.
You could probably use even sort of rudimentary modern counterfeiting and get away with it, depending on how far back in time you went.
I think you pinpoint when a big bank robbery happened, and then you just beat the criminals to it, or you just go in the back, behind all of them and throw a ski mask on, and be like, "I'm part of you guys," and shoot them. And rob the bank.
Or you just go back in time with modern weaponry and body armor and just do it your damn self.
That's a good point.
Just come out.
What if one of those men was like your great grandfather, and then you just didn't exist anymore?
Ooh, like a Looper style thing. Yeah.
Or Back to the Future.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Air court. Take it to air court.
Did you know Stephen Chen worked at Facebook for a few weeks before quitting to begin his own startup? It was called YouTube. Jesus. We've missed the boat, haven't we, man? Like the next advancement, whatever it is, like we're fucked. We're too old for it now. I mean, this guy worked at one of the most valuable companies in the world and then started the most valuable company in the world.
Yeah. I mean, Christ, what do you want us to say? You want us to feel worse about ourselves? Yeah, they worked. The guy worked. The guy pitched for the Orioles and then pitched for the Yankees. Oh, fucking shit.
Sorry, I don't know. I just find it fascinating that somebody like that worked at a Fortune 500 company only to start his own Fortune 500 company like a few weeks later. And I always brag about my cousin who got into he was a sales guy and then he got into internet security in 1997. Like, so he's got a big bag of Rolls Royces that he walks around with every now and again. It's just I don't know, man. I really, like me, and then I look at myself. I got into radio right as the golden age was nosediving into a fucking cliff.
This looks like a sustainable line of technology. Get right into this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's at its height. It's at its zenith. Oh, fuck the internet. You have to dial into that thing. It'll never take off.
It's a bit of a fad.
That buzzing noise. Nobody wants to hear that.
I think it's going to blow over, if you ask me. Too many chat rooms.
All right, fine. I've got 3 more facts for you fuckers. Did you know, at its height, the British Empire ruled over 23% of the world's population?
I'm not going to be able to tell you when, but I think I did hear that. Only to be beaten out, not by total population, but by percentage of population by Genghis Khan.
But here's the thing, though. I'm wondering, are they including like the native American, South American populations? They didn't even know they were here. So if you take them off the table, isn't that about 50%? Because you're only dealing with half the other half of the world.
Because when the British Empire is at its zenith, just before the American Revolution.
Okay.
Those areas were already colonized.
You're right. Okay. All right. And then they tried to fuck with this, and they got a little bit of that. You know what I mean? They got a little bit of that
They tried to
fuck 1-2 punch from a 5-year-old.
They tried to fuck with this, which was that pretty much, only not that far removed. We're not that far removed from talking like those people. And
no, we're not at all.
I mean, like idiots. But they also had Australia, India, isles all over the places.
Lots of South and Central America.
Yeah.
Canada.
I have a question. I don't know if you guys can answer this, but
the Falkland Islands.
The Queen's wealth, right? The Queen of England and the British monarchy. Are they only wealthy? Like, do the British, quote unquote, rent that island from them? Like, is the island of Britain, is that technically her land and then everybody just lives there and then they kind of like pay her a stipend because it's technically her land?
No, I don't think so. I think that the royalty has certain estates, but they don't own all of Britain. They own their estates and their castles, et cetera, et cetera. But, if you got a house, it's not the Queen's land it's on.
But like, okay, don't they still like technically own like islands and shit? Like Caribbean islands and things like that? I don't know. I'm just pulling one out of my ass here, but like Turks and Caicos or something like that. Like that's a British owned island. But it's technically the Queen's land.
Are you talking about if they're like a
province?
Yeah, like a territory or UK member?
Yes.
Well, no, I don't think that they. Well, I don't think that they technically own it.
That's how they used to. They don't do that anymore. But
Right.
they've also since then they've done other things with that wealth, like put it into things like FM radio and some long-lasting investments. So
Yeah, you could go down to Turks and Caicos and be like the number one DJ, radio guy down there.
Believe me, I thought about that for a stint. Like if I went to like Maria's old island, be like, "Hey, babe, you want to move back home?" I'll just be like, because they have so many they have so many cruise ships coming there. I'd just be like, like the dockside radio guy,
dude.
Who wants to play some shuffleboard?
You could get a fucking like a minuscule transmitter and just blast that shit into the ocean. That AM fucking wave would go on to the UK.
Forever.
The Queen would be fucking, what is this? What is this shit? Who the hell is this?
Yeah, and I could just live off of like oversalted cruise food.
That's right. No, man, you'll be casting out right there on the rocks in your 1-bedroom, living it.
With me and the family.
Hoping the weed man comes in from the mainland.
Did you know it took 220 years after the pencil was invented for someone to invent the eraser?
Oof.
That's a pretty big lag right there.
Yes, it is.
200 years?
222.
Well, let me ask you this though.
Okay.
There's got to be a reason, right? I mean,
there's
way too easy for somebody not to have gotten it. I imagine the kind of lead that they used was not erasable, maybe up to some point.
Well, I guess vulcanized rubber probably wasn't a thing yet.
That's what I was going to say. I can look at a pencil and say, okay, the lead, I can understand. The eraser seems like it came after the lead, but 220 years, 2 centuries plus. That's that's quite a gap.
Wait,
when was the pencil invented?
I don't know. That my fun fact calendar does not contain.
I ask these questions frequently, and Murr reminds me that the fun fact calendar is pretty limited in the.
Well, what's not limited is the internet.
The Google, you're right.
Well, that just makes it a lot less fun if we start looking up facts.
While we don't do this. I'm sorry. This is my first Fun Facts Friday.
It's easier to speculate.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hold on. Since I already did it.
Yeah.
When do you guys think that the pencil was invented?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to go. Well, they were using feathers for so fucking long, so I'm gonna say. Wait, but 220 years.
I'm gonna say the mid 1800s. So it didn't catch on. They were still using some ink and feathers, but there was a 20-year gap. Like, oh, you're a lead pencil user? Jesus.
Yeah, but if that was the case, if that was mid 1800s, then
mid 17. Sorry, mid
17. Okay.
Oh, that's so he just took.
So then the eraser was invented in like 1970.
I'm gonna say that the eraser was invented in 1885. So 1885, 1760. I'm saying the pencil was invented then in 1640.
Yeah, I'm doubling down. I'm going to say the eraser was not invented until the 1970s.
Wes is right. Amazingly. No, actually. This is pencil was invented around 1662. The first modern pencil was 1795. But yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry, everyone. Fun facts by getting to more facts.
Actually, that was a better fact. It would have been better if it was like, did you know the pencil was invented in 1665?
Oh yeah, everybody knows that.
Then why? Wait, okay. Then why were they? Why did Thomas Jefferson sit down by candlelight with a fucking like the side of a lamb and fucking like write with ink with a fucking feather?
Yeah,
why does he use a pencil?
Because he had been using it for so long. You can teach an old dog new tricks. You don't want to fuck with that lead. Always the feather and ink. Always.
It's probably cheaper. I mean, I imagine that the first pencils, if they start getting mass produced in the mid 1600s.
Yeah. Do you know the first pencil would be worth $200 today? Do you know that?
Oh.
And finally, did you know goldfish have a memory span of several months and can even be trained to do tricks?
Wow.
That messes up Ted Lasso. Do you guys watch Ted Lasso?
Yeah.
Yeah. He said be like a goldfish. You have a short memory, right?
Yeah. Well, I was, the old wives' tale is that goldfish only have like 5-second memory.
Yeah, 7 second. I think I've heard every single digit, analogy from every other person. You goldfishes. It's like, oh, so you were involved in the goldfish psychology experiment that happened way back when. Fair enough.
But what are they remembering, honestly? Like, what kind of tricks can you teach them? I saw some guy, he did teach a goldfish to, like, swim up and down through some hoops. But it was only because that's where he dumped the food all the time. So when he'd get out the little shaker, and then the goldfish would swim through the little fucking, like, yay. It's not like you can get a goldfish to fetch you a beer. You can't get him to do anything good.
What do you constitute as a goldfish trick? Hey, Murr.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My point. What is a goldfish trick? What constitutes a goldfish trick?
I don't know. I think that's pretty impressive to get a goldfish to do anything on command.
Yeah.
How dare you? That's because you're a goldfishicist and you don't think goldfish are capable of anything. So anything they do, you're impressed by.
I mean, if somebody without any legs dunked, I'd be impressed by that. Like that doesn't make me like an ableist.
Fair point. Oh man, yeah. That I meant to ask you a question back when we talked about the 5-year-old. Can you punch Am I allowed to punch a handicapped person?
Jeez, just stop trying to beat people up who are children.
Asking for a friend, of course.
How handicapped? I mean, how capable? I mean, does he have a cane that he's hitting you with?
Okay, well that wraps up Fun Fact Friday. So let me get back to this. How handicapped does a person have to be before I'm legally liable for their injuries if they start shit? What I'm getting at is guys in a wheelchair, jawing off. Hold on, check this.
Wheelchair,
No.
you're done.
Check this out, though. We live in the era of equality, right? You're not supposed to look at anybody any different. Just because they're in a wheelchair doesn't mean that they're any less of a person. They're acting like an asshole. Do they have an equal right to get punched in the face?
I would say they should, under the law, have just as you should be able to punch them just as in the same situation as you would be able to punch an able-bodied non-handicapped person. But just realize that people are on juries and it doesn't look good.
Yeah,
hitting handicapped people. So you really want to be damn sure about that one. Damn sure about before punching any kids. Elderly too. I'm sure you want to hit some elderly people too, Murr.
Yeah.
I'm not an ageist, okay, and I don't appreciate the accusation.
There was a little person that I went to college with who got mouthy when he got drunk. And there's a couple times where I was like, God, man, you're gonna get, not to me, but just like noticing it and witnessing it. It's like you're gonna get punched. You ought to get punched for some of the things you're saying. And I think a lot of people had some restraint. Didn't happen. Never happened. At least to what I know. Maybe it happened behind closed doors.
Now, all right, hypothetical for you guys. I know we get into specifics here, but if you're on a jury and somebody's trying to, defend punching somebody else, what do you think is the hardest one to overcome? Punching a child, punching an elderly person, a handicapped person, or a little person?
What's the hardest to like justify?
Yeah.
The elderly.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like,
I was gonna give a kid.
A kid, like what, under 7?
Well, I was gonna go with using our example, like the 5-year-old. Like, you can't like
the kid and the elderly run neck and neck. But the kid, you could karate chop him, and their body's elastic, and they're probably not going to break anything if they fall. An elderly person falls like a fucking pro wrestler just took a sweet chin music from Shawn Michaels. Damn near everything that touches concrete's going to break.
Okay, but see, you're thinking of the aftermath, and I'm thinking of the moment here. Like, because old people don't always realize how old and fragile they are. And so they'll jaw off or be as aggressive as they would have been if they were a young buck. But they'll come at you, and they got those fucking, like, I don't know, like, even though their arms are brittle, it's like they're harder because they've been fucking, like, almost like steel that's been beat on for years and years and years. You ever been hit by an old person, man? Like been gripped up by one? Like,
Not particularly, no.
nah, dude, I remember my grandfather, man. That motherfucker had like 2 fake hips, fucking barely walked. But man, if he fucking grabbed you, none of us ever, until the day he died, none of us beat him arm wrestling. That motherfucker was strong as shit, fucking beaten and hardened by time. So I could see him jawing off and then catching one because he's being a dick.
Yeah.
But when he hit the ground, he would have shattered like glass.
So
So I see what you're.
yeah, that's what I'm
What?
thinking. Yeah, the aftermath. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not thinking of the aftermath. I'm thinking of the moment. So if in that order, I would say the kid is the least justifiable, followed by the little person, the handicapped, and then the elderly. So I would fight an elderly person. I would fight a handicapped person. I would think twice before I beat up a little person. And then a kid, yeah, it's all situational. They might catch a fucking like flying knee or something, a fucking Saget fucking knee from Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter.
A Bob
Like
Saget.
an oops. Yeah, Bob Saget knee. Like an oops. Like I was just trying to protect myself when my knee came up at a very violent fucking quick motion and fucking knocked his teeth out.
Do you remember that middle school teacher, Wilson?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, did you have him at Perryville?
Yeah, it was middle school science.
Yeah, that guy always was hoping that some middle school boy would break bad on him. Always. I was always like ready to fucking just, oh, you want some? God, I hope you do. I hope you fucking want to get your fucking teeth beat in.
Dude, I saw him. I saw him threaten a kid.
So
I saw him threaten many.
But he grabbed him. Kid was in a cast, full leg cast. Somebody pushed him, and he fell into the door. Wilson went over, yanked the door open, grabbed the kid by the shirt collar, and was like, "That's why your fucking leg's broken," and then shoved him back. Guy was on crutches.
Wilson had a twofer. He tried to fight a kid and a handicapped person in the same fight.
Yeah.
He wasn't like a little person too, was he?
Yeah. That's back in
Man,
the 90s. You could justify that. Like, punk smashed into my door.
Starting to respect him more and more.
All right.
Guy had like a porn star mustache and pit stains all day.
That's right. He knew science.
Not the science of antiperspirants.
That's Fun Fact Friday and Asking for a Friend. Wrapped up.
Yeah, that's everything.
All right. Before you go, 2 prisoners at Edna Mahan Correctional Facility out of New Jersey. Calvary, you familiar? Just send a few people that way.
Thankfully, no.
Okay. So, the inmate is transgendered, born a male, goes to this all-women's facility and knocks up 2 inmates. Edna Mahan reportedly houses 27 transgendered inmates. NewJersey.com says DOC officials declined to comment. No shit. Yeah. So, male/female inmate goes in there. What the hell do you expect? 2 inmates are down, knocked up. Give us your thoughts on the mess at Edna Mahan Correctional Facility in New Jersey.
That's a mess you can't clean up. I don't know. I mean, I guess she's a lesbian. Just wanted to have a little fun time, you know? Hey, prison, weird things happen in prison. Yeah. I don't even know how to comment on this anymore. Like, I don't like to be gun shy on this type of shit, but like, people are lying. They're not. I'm saying there's some people out there that have true gender dysphoria and they need help. This person found a way to bang chicks in prison, and I applaud him for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you get implants, some estrogen shots. You know, you get just across you get a little left of center. They send you that way. Like, yeah, you can go there. And Adam, what did you say? You said if you got sent to jail for X amount of years, you would just do this too?
I mean, look, it sounds better than being in a male prison, right? I'm not trying to undermine, people who are transitioning or anything like that, but I mean, it just sounds like a better alternative to me than going to a male prison.
Will you be semi-surprised if this inmate then goes back to male after a year and says, like, I just couldn't take it in there. Too much complaining, too much bickering, bitching.
No, but
I'll tell you what. If he fully transitions, becomes a female, and just decides he doesn't like being around all these other women, and then goes to the male prison, he'll be pretty popular there, I would think.
You'd be like hall monitor extraordinaire.
I have a feeling that someone will try to impregnate him at some juncture, and it won't be as much fun as this prison situation was for him. Yeah, no, this unfortunately for that community is going to become the poster child for several Fox News stories in the very near future, because this, I mean, is there? This might be for a future asking for a friend, but like I'm starting to need. I have the urge to know like what the legal parameters are for quote unquote being considered a woman. Because if you got a penis, you still have the ability to impregnate people.
Right.
I don't know. Like, where's the line?
I think it's a certain amount of the gene therapy. It's like there's a threshold of how many of those you get when you're trying to transition. And at a certain point, after so many shots, after X amount of time, then they say, yep, you are now deemed a woman. But I'm not defending it. What I'm saying is it's like, all right, inmate so-and-so, pull your pants down, take your clothes off. We're going to give you this is the movie version of it. They're going to give you the shower where they scrub you and they blast you, throw the lye at you or whatever. But like, yeah, you see a penis, like, huh, wow. You're here at this jail? Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes, ma'am.
I think you got the wrong one.
Nope. I mean, got 3 shots last Friday.
You're right. Just beat the threshold. I mean, shit, dude. If you were gonna do, I don't know what, 25, 30 years, like maybe this person figured out I can get just over that threshold, but not lose my manhood entirely. Maybe if I wanted to backtrack and get some testosterone and get the tits taken, assuming they had a breast implant, I don't know. But I can become a man when I get out in 30 years, but I'm going to enjoy this 30 years. Unless they put you in solitary the entire time.
Obviously not.
Yeah, that's just the thing. I mean, they couldn't do that, right? Because that would be discriminating against somebody because they're
not going to let this continue.
Not anymore. I mean, look, I would just imagine.
You're saying the guy's pull-out game is weak?
Dude, this guy's pulling more.
Her pull-out game is weak. Sorry.
Yes. She's pulling more pussy in jail than most dudes are pulling on the street. You know what I mean? And what's the threshold? I would assume, I was just under the assumption that to reach that threshold, you wouldn't have any swimmers left, at least. If you're still intact, if you still had all your bait and tackle, I would just assume that you didn't have any scent on the bait anymore. You know what I mean? Like, impregnated 2 people.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah.
And
this wasn't as fun as I thought it was going to.
This isn't a clear-cut case, right?
This is a no-cut case, apparently.
I mean, that's the problem with something like this. I mean, the prison system is. I mean, out in the world. I mean, what you decide to call yourself, man, woman, and how you identify and all that. I mean, you're just doing your day-to-day thing, going to work, going to stores, whatever. That doesn't make that big of a difference. When you have to separate people into a prison, it's a whole different story. I mean, we're just not used to dealing with that.
Yeah. Can you imagine this though, from a women's prison standpoint? I'm not saying most, but there's a fair range of. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm going to bite my tongue on this one. They're looking to have sex, okay, and they resort to. But an inmate comes in who's a woman who also has a penis. You imagine that? Like, damn, I got to get me some of that. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying that I would do this in a male prison, but if a male inmate came in with a vagina,
I mean, I think back to my example. I mean, what if you said what if this person then transitions back? I mean, what if you were right the same sort of thing? A man who was transitioning to be a woman, you came into a male prison. Yeah, I feel like that person would probably, the same situation, but
be highly sought after
differently, right?
Yeah, highly.
Although I feel like anybody new coming into a male prison is highly sought after. As soon as you walk in. Which is why I would get out of there. Female prison.
Go that female Jones. All right. That is the before you go, Mr. Moore, tell the folks and everyone who's listening, and you're going to fill in. I'm going to actually take notes and see how you do this week at letting everyone know where they can find us.
That's right. You can find us all over the internet. Look, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. We're also on Apple and Google Podcasts. But if you'd like to find us on Twitter, we are the MDL Classholes. We're the Middle Classholes on Instagram, and you can find us also as the Middle Classholes on TikTok. Facebook, the Middle Classholes as well. Hey, thanks a lot for fucking up my flow there, Wes. I think I did a pretty damn fine job. But again, anywhere you can find us, podcast form, you can find us. Apple, Google Podcasts, best way to find us, and YouTube as well.
Did not do that on purpose. I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
That's fine. And if you'd also like to email us, you can do that at tickleourtummies at gmail.com.
Thank you, sir, and I appreciate you filling in. Alan, we'll see you next week. Adam, thank you for joining us, man. Hey, we'll get you back in the future. Listen, do you have a preference on whether or not people like send us digging out news clips versus people sending in real submissions? Say we get some traction. Say we get some some real life people saying, "Hey, look, asking for a friend."
Yeah. I'm always happy to give advice to a friend.
Okay.
A friend.
Whether or not
or friends, I guess, because
6 degrees of bacon Adam. There we go. Booyah. Well, again, Dayman, thanks for hopping on. Well, that's all we have time.
Get the fuck out of here, is what he's saying.
That's all we have time for tonight. Until next time, friends.